George Carlin said, "Think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that." What real-life example have you seen that validates this view? There is a considerable overlap between the intelligence of the smartest pairs and the dumbest tourists. Yosemite Park Ranger on why it's hard to design a bear-proof garbage can. I worked at a bank. Mobile depositing had just become a thing. We received a picture of someone's cash for deposit. Yeah. See bro, just wait like 2 hours and take another photo of the same cash and deposit it again. And again and again. Whoa. Instant money, yeah bro, instant money. Duck, we're gonna be so rich off this $84. You mean our $168 bucks? People that stupid can't multiply 84 by 2. A woman I used to work with who insisted that any animal could reproduce with any other animal. She believed that sperm from any animal was the same and that DNA was irrelevant. She believed this because she once saw some sickly, possibly deformed puppies and decided that they must have been half dog and half rat. Ah yes, rat terriers. The fact Florida had to tell people not to shoot at the hurricane. One of my nieces had a cold as a toddler and was breathing through her mouth. My ex-BIL flipped out because he didn't want her to get carbon monoxide poisoning from breathing through her mouth instead of her nose, the normal way. When my daughter was born, we had to see the hospital pediatrician before we could switch to our usual one. We're in a tiny exam room and he's going over the do's and don'ts for new parents. To precede this, he's an older Southern man. And I assumed she will be sleeping in a crib in the nursery. We have a bassinet set up beside the bed to make night feeding easier. She can't sleep with you. She won't be in the bed, she has a bassinet beside the bed. If she sleeps in the same room, there will be too much carbon dioxide and she'll suffocate. That's what causes SIDS. Then isn't this exam room unsafe? We put in a complaint with the practice in the hospital. That's some ridiculously incorrect information to be spouting off at people, especially parents who take everything a doctor says as gospel. I can't even find the logic in that. Not only this but also co-sleeping in the same room is shown to reduce the incidence of SIDS. It is thought that the baby hears you breathing and it helps them self-regulate. Yep. The closer they are, the more they regulate. It's theorized that's part of why kangaroo care helps NICU babies. I'm just imagining the doctors placing a baby in a kangaroo pouch. On 911, the general manager called his daughter who was attending ASU to wake her up and make sure she saw what was going on. The customer service manager said, "It won't be on her TV yet. Arizona is 2 hours behind US. Why didn't Australia warn us about 911? After all, they are several hours ahead." Reminds me of a Facebook post that went, "Just found out China is like 12 hours in front of us. Why didn't they tell us about 911? China 3 billion people died, not verbatim but close." Fun fact about China. As large as the country is, the Chinese government makes the entire country be on one time zone. Essentially it would be like East Coast and West Coast America operating the same hours. I worked at Little Caesars and we were proofing the dough for pizza. My boss said, at 7 p.m., that the dough needed to rise for 12 hours, and took out her calculator to do the math. So I said, that's gonna be 7 a.m. Then she said the dough will expire in 48 hours and started doing the math again. I told her it would expire 2 days from now, and she said that's kinda weird how that works out, huh? I quit shortly after that. The most surprising thing here for me is that Little Caesars bakes fresh dough and actually bothers with a long leavening time. I teach 6th grade. One time a parent came to me after trying to help their child with math homework and asked, "What number is X worth?" It feels like it changes with every problem. I don't know if this is satire or not, but good job. It is not. The parent came to me after school, without their child, because they knew something was wrong and didn't want to look stupid in front of their kid. Hashtag X200B. This is filed in my brain of parent reactions I can't fathom. Along with the mom that year who asked if her child could play piano and marching band. Piano and marching band. The more I think about it, a guitar could spice up some of those Sousa marches. My high school marching band had an electric guitar, so it's not an impossibility. Gotta find a music teacher that's adventurous. Just scroll down a web page or Facebook feed and have a look at the ads. Things like only 2% can solve this puzzle shit like that. Those ads get posted so much because they actually work on a lot of people. My favorite though, see what your fandom lat of her name is based on your date of birth, hometown, first and last letters of your mom's maiden name. Things. Like you have a chart, and people post their results, and it's a goldmine for anyone looking for the answers to those pesky security questions. LMAO. There are still people who fall for if you post your password it comes up as asterisks. Watch. Big Penis Lover 1010. Wow. It works. Hunter 2. I'm an insurance claims adjuster. If you truly knew how many stupid drivers you're sharing the road with, you'd never drive again. Edit because I keep getting this question. I avoid driving whenever possible. I have a car, but I take the bus stop from work. I never drive at night. I work in highway safety, can confirm. I can no longer count on two hands the number of people I've stopped with in the middle lane of traffic on a freeway, with no bigger problem than a flat tire. When I question them as to why they stopped in the middle of a freeway, the typical answer is either the vehicle wouldn't go any further, or they don't want to damage their rim. I swear to whatever you want me to swear to, people will put the well-being of the rim on their car above their own safety and even the safety of their children. There was a lady a few years in Chicago that stopped her car in the middle of the expressway for some reason. We don't know why, because she and her two sons were killed in the ensuing accident. In my head, it went something like, "If you two don't stop bickering, I will stop this car right now." In grade 10, we had a science test, and the teacher gave 1 point for putting a date on the paper, and 1 point for your name on the paper, and then there were 98 points for the rest of the test. A guy sitting in front of me got 0.5100, didn't write the date and only wrote his first name. That's ducking hilarious. Reminds me of the time my classmate copied the test answers of my other smarter classmate in 2nd grade. He got caught because he copied the name too. 2nd grade. I saw that happen in high school. The next day the teacher was just savage publicly calling it out. 30 plus years later I still remember him starting out the class congratulating Todd on doing so well on the test, but next time, he didn't need to hand in 2 copies. Oh, and by the way, I didn't get anything handed in by Mike. Sorry Mike, you get a 0. University professor. I have caught it at this level. Code comments. All I need to say. I definitely catch it there too. A few years ago I had a test question in an intro to programming course. To mix things up a bit, I had them run a function where the input string was the first 4 letters of their first name followed by the first 3 of their last name, with some padding rules for students whose first last weren't long enough. The woman that called into a radio station to complain about the deer crossing signs on a highway saying that the deer will see the sign and consider this place a safe place to cross the road. www.youtube.com watch, Marfkajlagri. National Parks and Services gets complaints from people when the buffalo aren't out. Knew a kid who drank bleach to prove it wouldn't kill you. A week later he showed up at school after taking a shot. He said he proved his point when the teacher asked why he was bragging about it. Mr. Hawk just said, but you cannot argue that without that medical treatment you'd have died, though you even said you have stomach damage and a burn esophagus yourself. This kid was bragging about that. He was not mentally disabled or otherwise. He was just that kind of idiot. Edit. Thank you all. Who'd have thought my most upvoted comment would be about some kid I knew drinking literal bleach? Read my inbox. I knew a girl in high school who wanted to breathe fire. She put lighter fluid in her mouth and instead of blowing it onto a flame, she lit it on fire inside her mouth and then tried to blow it out. She came to school the next day with a bandage over half her face. Sounds like these two would be a great couple if they haven't died by now. A modern Romeo and Juliet. Instead of meeting at a party, they meet in the ER for being complete fucking morons, and then end up killing themselves because they are complete fucking morons. Young romance. Infantryman was told to trim the hedges. So he lifted the lawnmower. His buddy started it. As a brand new medic, I spent about 6 hours pulling finger meat from the hedges. Holy shit, that's dumb. Holy shit, that's a thumb.